Hello, dear students, friends, and learners. Welcome to Billion Hopes AI. We are about to start our AI Power of 10, session number 17, 18th of April. This is your mentor, Sandy, bringing you AI for real impact. As we all know, AI Power of 10 remains one of the most powerful weekly review sessions of the major developments happening in AI. We take up 10 important issues which cover the length and breadth of whatever has happened over the past few days, a couple of weeks. So, my dear friends, I'm also very, very happy to say that we are releasing this particular video, this session, on our channel for the world to see. So this is free for all on our channel. Watch this, learn a lot, enjoy it. It's a 90-minute session. Be with me till the end. And do consider joining our membership. AI Power of 10 is available on membership level 2 and strategic reviews available on level 3. So we are releasing this so you can have a first-hand feel of the quality. And I'm absolutely certain you'll make up a mind to join hands with us. So just press the join button and find it out. So let's begin the work for today now. So before we start with our 10 topics, as a regular reminder, here are 5 ways you can make the most of what Billion Hopes actually offers. The 5 golden rules. Next, I always do that at the beginning to help all our members stay in touch with the key deliverables that we have. So, my dear friend, first and foremost, for every Power of 10 session that I offer, AI Power of 10, there is a parallel quiz available on this link. That link is in the comment. If you click on that link, the quiz page will open and the current password, I will declare it so all of you can access it. Very soon, I will be changing this password. So then again, it will be available only to the members. So the password for AI Power of 10 currently is BHROCKS041, BHROCK041. So in case you are not a member and you want to check out the quizzes, click on that link given in the comment, go to that, enter this password and solve the quizzes. I wish you all the best. So this is our online quiz facility. AI for Everyone newsletter. We sent the 36th issue yesterday. It's a wonderful newsletter made with a lot of pain and effort every Tuesday and Friday. If you still haven't subscribed to it, do it right now. The link is there. Don't miss it. Something very, very solid you're missing. The best AI dedicated current affairs website is Insights, insights.billionhopes.ai. The link is given. Check it out and make it a habit to read daily. All our students and members do it very, very regularly. The parent site at billionhopes.ai, 4 blogs, Career Center, Knowledge Center, daily regular updates, and natural intelligence. 4 blogs are updated there on a regular basis. Use that. And of course, our academy, where we have brilliant courses that you can enroll and start your AI journey, especially AI Mastery Bundle. So these are the 5 things you should be using. And I hope you will do well with this. The password will be changing very soon so that it's available later on to our members. All earlier issues of the newsletter are available on our website. Here are the 10 articles for today. Work has begun. Wonderful articles. The first is Physical AI is here. So we have been talking about AI in general, a lot of AI in general. But in the real world, we do not see AI's applications. Today, we are going to see that. A beautiful article I came across, Physical AI is here. So every week, as part of the daily work, we scan through all the world's media and the best AI editorials we pick up, and 10 best I get it here every Saturday. So this is how the learning builds up. People who have joined us right from the beginning are gaining immensely. Week after week after week after week, the whole body of knowledge builds up. People even make their own hard notebook. And for every session like AI Power of 10, they make their precise takeaways. They make notes on that. So it's a personal learning wealth that you end up creating. AI arms race is accelerating. A warning bell has been sounded. Sounded out. AI in mathematics. The extent to which AI can actually be helpful in pure sciences and mathematics has been debatable. So there's a latest claim that AI is actually helping in mathematics. We'll evaluate that. Can AI truly deliver what it promised? So there are so many promises that AI and AI companies and AI honchos have been talking about, but does it actually deliver on the ground? Let's assess. Indian factories can use physical AI to modernize, so that's the next level. Why India is very cyber vulnerable. AI is bringing with it promise and a lot of peril also. We have seen that with Claude Mythos. I have given a detailed video on that on my channel. Claude Mythos actually is turning out to be such a big headache for Indian IT that they just don't know what to do with it. Even in government, there is a debate about Claude Mythos. So we'll go into that. We will see. And that's a topic we have been very regularly taking up now because it is a problem. How AI enables access to books via shadow libraries. Memristors to the rescue. So that's an absolutely scientific technical topic we'll take up. With AI, the problem is energy consumption. And the way to solve that problem is to be more efficient. Every part of the AI value chain will need to be made more efficient. And the way to make it more efficient is innovation. There's no other way. Full story of data centers as they are, AI's energy equation is rapidly shifting. Dear friends, AI is upon us. You like it, you love it, you hate it, you ignore it. It is up to you. But the problem is you won't be able to escape it. Over the next 5 to 10 years, my study of AI over the past 8 years has convinced me AI is going nowhere. Even if some of the top AI companies fail, some of the major projections fail, AI has become so embedded in our lives now, it will always stay. And so AI professionals will always be needed. On my website, billionhopes.ai, if you go through the Career Center blog, you will be surprised to see the kind of jobs that are being created. So why don't you check it out right now? All the links are given. Go to the Billion Hopes AI site and check out all the links and see what are the new opportunities coming up. Why miss upon them? Why miss those opportunities? Go ahead, go dive right in. And in a year or two, you can actually come out winners. So AI is a promise with all its negative connotations. AI remains a very positive promise. So that's the whole idea. We start with the first analysis for today when AI steps into the real world. This is a wonderful, wonderful, well researched article. There's a lot of AI slop coming in the market, but when well researched articles come up, I do take it up. So this is how we do the analysis. This is for all those who are not our members because we are releasing this video for free. The world should know the quality, what we do. Hundreds of people are learning with us. Summary, analysis, additional points, 7 names and 5 concepts which have come up. Full article for your read and an infographic that summarizes whatever we have seen. So this is how we cover each topic. Most comprehensive way to actually learn like a scholar and use that in your life. Physical AI puts intelligence into machines that sense, decide, and act in real settings. So this is not virtual AI, just a chatbot that talks to you. We are now talking about the possibility of putting that into physical machines placed in the real world. The promise here is factories, farms, and warehouses will gain. But as on date, they are very costly. They need enormous energies. And the safety worries are quite some. See, Rodney Brooks, one of the fathers of modern robotics, is on record, September 2025, having said that humanoid robots are a joke. We will never have humanoid robots. As a demonstration, some dancing robots here and there are fine. But to be making claim, this is what Rodney Brooks says, you can disagree, to be making claim that every human family in this world will eventually have a humanoid robot in the home doing all the chores. He says this is not possible because of many reasons. First is safety. A humanoid robot will be at least 150, 200, 250 kgs of brute weight made of metal, right? If it falls on a human being, that human being will die instantly. So would you want a moving machine 200, 250 kgs always all around you, which if it falls on you, you die, or the children, they die? You would want. So you would want much smaller heighted robots, right? So Rodney says that we will have robot, but not humanoid. We'll have small cube shape robot, round robot, like we have all the robo vacuum cleaners and all. And that is the future direction. Plus, touch has been a very big problem with robotics. Human touch is excellent, robotic touch is not. Maybe Rodney is proven wrong, and maybe he is absolutely a genius who has seen the way it is going. We are all here. We'll see you the next 10 years where we reach by 2036. We'll have a lot of insights, right? Let's see if the robots allow us to be around. Aha, Matrix loading. Bigger play. AI definitely has caused the most visible disruption in content creation, making chatbots, image tools, reports, and videos much smarter. And we all have experienced that. Some of us have leveraged it, some of us have been victims of it. But broadly, we all would agree with this, right? But the bigger shift, as they claim, is in the physical products now. AI getting into physical products will be a humongous shift. Robots, autonomous vehicles, drones, and factory system. As far as drones are concerned, we have already seen the tremendous damage they can do in war settings. What physical AI means. So, physical AI, if you ask me for the definition, physical AI refers to systems that combine intelligence with physical action. Intelligence here refers to the ability of these LLMs, deep learning things, to actually carry out the inference actions that a user actually wants them to. Physical AI will have intelligence combined with physical action. So, machines can perceive surroundings, decide, and execute tasks in real time. To some extent, we are doing it even now. And to some extent, a lot of this is fluff because intelligent automation, IA, has existed for more than 20 years already. Some names, etc., are given here. To some experts and founders, they say that this is not traditional AI focused mainly on data analysis. This is action in a 3D, messy, complex, ever changing world, which is what the humans are optimized to live in. Over millions of years, nature has optimized us for that. From cloud to floor. Unlike software AI, so now we are distinguishing software AI, hardware AI, that studies data in the cloud, physical AI will blend vision, sensor, touch, and advanced model inside the working machine. So these working machines will have all this inbuilt and they will be constantly crunching data which the robots receive via sensors and belching out intelligence. So a robot is no longer just following pre-programmed if then commands, but the robot can actually react to what it sees, feels, and gradually learns. Remember, these are very loaded terms. A robot never sees. There is a sensor which converts everything into numbers. LLMs cannot see the world, they only see numbers. LLMs cannot hear the world, they only hear numbers. That is, they input numbers. LLMs have no concept of emotions, music, understanding of the human context, nothing. They only take in numbers, they only throw out numbers. Never ever lose sight of that fact. That is the fundamental truth. Limits of automation. Now, we know that for decades, industrial automation was basically repetitive work with precision. Whenever even the minor variations would appear, automation would start crying. It couldn't cope up. A misaligned component, a new product variant, or an unstructured environment. Robot designed for sameness can't tackle it, right? So, this is the beauty of the human existence, human mind, human brain. We are optimized for and we excel at differentness. The mind automatically adjusts and we can find our way through any kind of a differentness thrown at us. But machines cannot, right? And that is the beauty of being human, as I always say. A shift in automation. So when AI get directly embedded into physical systems, then you go to automation 2.0 from fixed tasks towards adapting workflows to changeable conditions. Is that clear? And then some other people have been named in this detailed article. Early proof points. So Deloitte Smart Manufacturing Survey has been quoted and it says that measurable gains indeed come when intelligence is baked into robotics. Error rates drop and near zero defects seem like a possibility now. Why intelligence matters? So investors who are carrying billions with them, finding new startups and machine learning ventures to put their monies in, They care less about the hardware shell and more about the intelligence layer guiding action in real settings. So that's a big thing. It can actually point fingers towards the future direction that the financial markets may take insofar as AI is concerned, AI investments are concerned. Faster factory learning. So there's a shift, and factories will become more software defined, like the Tesla cars have. Because teams may upload a new design and machines can reinterpret the task without any long retraining cycles. Some robots are learning to handle new objects in under 15 seconds. So, we are looking at a realistic compression of the training cycle for robots in Indian factories, which is a good thing. Although its labor implication in terms of jobs created and jobs destroyed, that's an altogether different debate which needs government and policy intervention. Wider users and harder problem. So there's this boxed explainer in which they explain everything. Physical AI fuses AI, robotics, hardware together. So definitely, where all can you use it? Immediately in manufacturing, then logistics, healthcare, agriculture, defense, and consumer. Although this remains very costly, the capex is high. And AI robotics always has had talent gaps. So that means if you pick up AI robotics as your career, maybe over the next 10 years, you can rock. Shop floor reality. Physical AI can address dexterous tasks that require a lot of skill, human hands, in precision manufacturing work. So you are combining vision, force, tactile sensing, and you can handle variability. So humans will be there, side by side, these robots will be there, although there is a real risk that one day the humans might be displaced. And that will lead to a very massive backlash against the entire AI industry. So, unless the industry knows how to manage it from now, everyone is headed for trouble. That you can rest assured. And there will be a tipping point beyond which society will not accept it. So, the government should act right now, right? Then they are also talking about agriculture. Adaptive systems can actually monitor plant health and detect stress before anything goes out of the hand. So the summary is that physical AI is now taking rigid automation machines towards a more softer sensing, adjusting, acting machines. Adoption is earlier, but better sensors, stronger computing, and improved models will push industry towards capable physical systems. So this is how the whole story is. Here are 7 names that appeared. 5 important technical concepts. These are something that you should actually dig more into. Physical AI, TV, sensor fusion, adaptive systems, perception stack. I hope you enjoyed the analysis. The fusion of AI with robotics and hardware systems to enable machines to sense, act, and adapt in the real world. That is the definition of physical AI. Okay. Beautiful image infographic that captures the whole essence. Some people enjoy this also, so we keep adding these also. Download the whole presentation, download this lecture. The link is given. Now we come to our second analysis for today, the escalating global AI arms race. All the major powers in the world are now deeply into integrating AI with their military capabilities. And this can have very serious consequences going forward. 10 years from now, in fact, 5 years from now, all the wars might actually be 90% AI wars. Human beings would be there in the background prodding their models. Come on, get up, fight, get up, be positive, come on, fight. And the model may return data not sufficient, data not sufficient, data not sufficient. Major powers are rapidly building military AI systems. The focus is autonomous drones and decision tools. The goal is to be very, very fast at mapping the evolving battlefield in real time and taking counteractions or offensive, defensive, primary positions, whatever it is. And with no human being needed on the field. So you are there in the back end and the human just signs off and things happen. More monies are being spent But global leadership is unclear, and there are no common global governance rules. This actually opens up the possibility for future conflicts to be very fast, very risky, and very hard to predict. And things can simply go off a cliff very, very fast. We saw that in the Iran war, asymmetric warfare, which actually put America very badly on the back foot. And this is just the beginning. Got it? Let's begin. This is just the beginning. Let's begin. Beijing parade signal. China displayed cutting edge drones capable of flying alongside fighter jets. So, China is actually trying out demos, doing demos of fighter jets being accompanied by killer drones during a real combat scenario. So, the next time you won't just have a fighter jet coming at you, you may have 10 drones flying alongside. Have you seen the movie Oblivion? Does that remind you of something? You remember those drones in Oblivion? Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, and Kim Jong un were standing together and watching it. The idea is to send a very strong geopolitical signal, and that has actually spooked the Western capitals. They understand where this is going, and so they are engaging more deeply with the AI firms, thereby setting off an absolutely new arms race. For all other countries, this is a warning signal. Everyone needs to step up. And ideally, first, we should be making global governance norms around this. Otherwise, it could be a catastrophe any day. So, America reacted with concern and it said that America's unmanned combat drone progress was lagging. So, China is actually way ahead now. This is a fairly authentic news. They also said Russia is expanding production capacity for advanced drones. Because of that Ukraine war, Russia also has learned many lessons. The Ukrainians have proven very resilient with it, widening the competitive pressure. So the issue for America now is not just China, it's Russia as well. So domestic defense firms like Anduril have been asked to produce AI-backed self-flying drones. Ohio factory has started operations already, and they are trying to bridge this tech gap with Russia and China. So it's a global race now. China did that public display. Obviously, if China wanted to hide it, they would never have gone public with it. But the fact that Xi Jinping stood with Putin and Kim Jong un and did a live demo, they actually wanted to tell the West, don't try anything funny anymore. The fun time is over. So China's display and the US response together is a clear proof we now have an escalating global AI arms race. AI autonomy will be center stage, and we are headed for that. So, as I said, AI holds a lot of promise, and the moment AI gets into military, it holds a lot of peril. I believe that is human destiny. For every good thing that we are capable of, we inevitably find out where all we can kill each other. And that's sad, that's bad. That's what our history has been always. Expanding capabilities and scope. The technology now includes drones that can independently identify and strike targets without continuous human oversight. So, as I just said a moment ago, the goal here is to have a stream of decisions happening very, very rapidly, where theoretically human beings will be signing off every attack. But given the kind of wrong attacks that have happened over the past 2 to 3 years, first in the Ukraine Russia war and then in the Iran war, the possibility that a human chain of command will be signing off on every order is very remote, and things will just spiral out of control. So, self-flying fighter jets are also being created. So, fighter jets without a pilot and AI-driven command systems to actually analyze intelligence. That means the stream of data that comes in, they will analyze it and recommend attacks. But then from here to a level where they also carry out attacks, how far is this? And that's exactly what Skynet warning in Terminator series was all about. We are literally witnessing the birth of that nonsense before our eyes and an AI arms race. So, as on date, US and China remain the top dogs in this race. But many other countries, Russia, Ukraine already have done it, and India, Israel, Iran, and several European nations have committed themselves to doing it. Europe's rearming context: France, Germany, Britain, and Poland, they are putting more money into it because Donald Trump's commitment to NATO is extremely dicey now. So these countries are individually preparing for conflicts where drone and AI systems can play a very decisive role compared to traditional, conventional, big ticket military assets. So a decisive shift is happening, has happened. In 2020, anyone talking about these things would have sounded like a futurist. But we are actually talking about it, and these things are happening before our eyes right now, right here. So, this is a huge, huge change that has happened. And as they say, technology accelerates rapidly. It is. If you compare it with the nuclear era, US, China, and Russia today are building AI weapons which are deterrents and may end up creating MAD, mutually assured destruction. But this is the same story in nuclear age redux. So buildup is similar to 1940s, and then whatever we saw through 60s, 70s, and 80s, which was like MAD any moment, but sanity prevailed, and the leaders of US and USSR ended up removing more than half of their existing nuclear warheads. But still, they have close to 5,000 each, even today, and China is racing towards the 1,000 mark. India, Pakistan are at around 200. So in military AI, no one is clearly ahead because it's a developmental phase going on, and AI budgets are largely classified. So international investigators, what do they rely on? They check factory activity, weapons on displays, military exercises, and at times, let me also make this very clear, a lot of the demos which are done for AI capabilities are absolutely demos and they are manufactured. Most of them at times turn out to be an overstatement of the real capacity or plain simple fraud. It happens. In product demos, at times nations end up doing things which do not exist in reality in production. China and Russia are experimenting systems that will allow AI to make battlefield decisions with minimum human control. Coordinated drone swarms, and Russia is building Lancet drone, which can go round and round around a target and then boom. Leaders have openly said that AI is very important. Putin actually several years ago, around 2017, I have made a video on that as well. Check it out on the same channel, AI and Warfare. Putin had said that the countries that dominate AI are going to rule the world. That was many, many years ago, in fact. So, my dear friend, the summary is simple. China, while building its AI frameworks and weapons, is calling for international frameworks and responsible development. But competition is intensifying across countries, companies, and research groups. Startups, investors, and wider access to AI tools are now turning military innovation into a brutal race with no end point at all. So, this is just the nuclear race, several times more dangerous and unpredictable. There's this beautiful theory, the Great Barrier, also some other words used to refer to it, that the reason we do not see intelligence anywhere in the universe might be because intelligence have this bad habit of destroying themselves. What to say? 5 important terms: autonomous drones, drone swarms, target recognition, AI command systems, human in the loop, HITL. That's a very popular term in AI, in fact, HITL. You are well advised to read these and go deep into it. Make your handwritten notes also on this, bit by bit, piece by piece. Everything adds up and you become more knowledgeable. You start understanding the patterns at a very deep level. Global AI arms race. Just about 10 years ago, all this was, as I said, science fiction. Now we see this as happening in real time. Enjoying the session? Great. So please do consider joining us. Membership level 1, 2, and 3. This is in level 2, and level 3 strategic review. Most welcome to join us. Now we move on to the Economist magazine, Science and Technology, and we'll see whether AI actually is helping mathematicians. That is something we wish to see now. AI helping mathematicians. Let's start. A persistent criticism of AI has been that it is not capable of ab initio thinking. Unless you feed it with some patterns and data, it cannot make things out for itself. So, how can it help with pure science, which requires thinking ab initio, right? That has been a persistent criticism. Now, maybe that's changing. Maybe not. We'll have to wait and watch. Any such major news that talks about a totally new frontier AI capability has to be taken with a bag full of salt because a lot of these actually end up being wrong later on. This might turn out to be true. One doesn't know. One will wait and watch. AI, it is claimed, is starting to help mathematicians generate, check, and formalize proofs much faster. But it stumbles on transfer, creativity, elegance, and the unpredictable leaps that human mathematicians bring to hard problems today. So, folks have tried to put AI to the service of mathematics, and they find that certain proofs which humans struggle with, AI can do. And then there are several limitations for AI, which also are mentioned in this analysis. So, shall we begin? So, this is kind of a frontier application of AI, and so this is very, very interesting. Pair packing puzzle. So, in this piece, in this article, we start with sphere packing, a problem that sounds playful but has challenged serious mathematicians and computer scientists. In 1998, Thomas Hales had solved a major version, but whether his solution was correct or not, it took many, many years to prove that. Because ultimately, how do you know if a solution is correct? So, proof checking bottleneck. If every proof takes such a long time to actually prove that the proof was right, why do these delays happen at all? Mathematics moves only when proofs are verified symbol by symbol and step by step. And this is the trust bottleneck. And actually, this is how science moves, right? You have to check everything thoroughly. Now, DARPA gave a big push to AI. So, this Patrick Shafto, he's a program manager of DARPA. He has been named in this. He now says that we want AI to speed up proof discovery and proof certification both, not just routine mathematical editing. If strong math fluent language models can verify old proofs and support new ones, then mathematics, which is a very, very stubborn field, will actually advance very, very fast. So this is typical AI speak, and I hope you will be with me till the end and not get intimidated by that. Humans and models. Then mathematical logic unfolds differently for people and language models during difficult work. As I said, humans look at the world very differently. We see, we touch, we smell, we taste, we hear, and our mind works inventively after that. LLMs only see numbers, right? They have no way to understand and experience this world except numbers. Maybe for maths, that is what is needed. Humans will sketch a plan first, while LLMs often move sentence by sentence like improvised dialogue rather than a deliberate script. Because that's how they have been made, right? The transformer architecture. Progress is speeding up now. The article then goes on to claim that even given these differences between LLMs and human beings, we now see that new systems are emerging which can solve long-standing open mathematical questions, and entirely new questions which are even trickier. Terence Tao, a well-known name, he says that we can definitely say that this field is now moving fast, which means because of AI. So that's a big thing to say and a good thing to say. This is one of the positive reinforcing uses of AI instead of the negative warfare and kill and butcher kind of things. Google's former tools. So there are certain very formal tools that Google has also offered. Google says that progress depends on systems expressing ideas in forms that mathematicians understand. And Google made Alpha Evolve. You remember AlphaFold already, right? Protein structures. Optimization proofs. More players have now arrived. Google is not the only group building serious mathematical tools. We have Harmonic that does Aristotle. This is an AI for maths. Aristotle, good name. And it's actually translating proofs which have been submitted into some other portals. And it is checking steps, giving some skipped logic. So basically, all these tools have been specifically trained for mathematics. General LLMs won't be able to do this. Please keep that very clear in your mind. A general LLM won't be able to do this. It is only an LLM trained for this that we are talking about. So I thought I'll get that confusion out of the way first. Math Incorporated has a similar goal with Gauss. So it has a Gauss model. Human written proofs are converted into lean. And it has already done certain good jobs. Reproduce Mariana Vajazovaska's sphere packing proof for 8 and 24 dimensions within weeks. So mathematicians say that this is actually a big deal. So we are going great guns. Good for them. Very good for them. Don't be bothered too much by the technicalities here. Try to see the general direction it is taking. That's what you should be learning from this class. Then there is the practical dream these people speak about. Bridge ordinary mathematical writing and strict formal languages such as lean. So that will help create a unified math structure. But it is not just about LLMs doing this in a very mechanical way, because creativity, deep mathematical creativity of the human mind is still an untouchable for the LLMs. Got it? Strange machine behavior. So, some other examples have been given here, which you might want to go. The closing view is balanced and quite sharp in this particular article, because these systems may eventually retain huge mathematical knowledge and make new links across fields. Humans are not being pushed out because creativity remains a uniquely human ability. 7 names that came up, 5 important concepts: LLMs, formal proof systems, automated theorem proving, natural to formal translation, and lean, which is the formal programming language of maths. So bit by bit, as we are moving ahead, you will also realize you are getting exposed to new ideas, new concepts. Many of these can look formidable initially, but once you have gone through these and then you again revise them, you spark your own curiosity and you get into finding more, you automatically become good at all these things. And then there has to be a start somewhere, isn't it? So AI powered revolution, quote unquote revolution in mathematical proof. So maths is a field that moves slowly because every single step has to be checked and cross-checked. It's so abstract, and LLMs are helping with that. Cool, very cool. We come to the 4th one. The AI revolution has now reached an awkward phase. And what exactly could we even mean by that? Siddharth Pai writes about it. Gaps between the promise of AI and the delivery of AI in the real world have begun to show up. Could this be an IT services opportunity? So this is an amazing thing. AI on its own is unable to deliver value the way people imagined. Because in enterprises are dealing with real humans, real customers, real 3D messy world. AI doesn't deliver value from day one or in the first or the third or the 6th month. Maybe this is where the IT services company can say, we will make it work for you. Maybe this is where they will regain their lost mojo. This is the whole idea behind it. You get it? Because AI is not a plug and play thing, right? You need to work a lot on AI before it starts working its magic, which is actually mathematics. Author makes this claim that now AI is in a very strange, awkward phase. If I put $1 million into an AI system, the gains I get are uneven, fragile, and difficult to scale. So companies, especially in Indian IT, can risk mistaking early efficiency signal for long-term capability. And companies should actually not cut down on internal staff too soon. Later on, they may regret. So that's quite a thing to say. So there's a familiar technology pattern. Whenever we have a technological revolution, initially people are very excited. Then a lot of money flows in. And then comes the difficult stage when the reality stops cooperating with the original story. This is a beautiful way to say it. And why is he even saying it? What he is trying to say is the hype created around that technology ends up becoming so big and people's expectation end up becoming so huge that finally reality becomes apparent that the new technology's promises are not really keeping up with what we imagined it would be. And then slow disenchantment begins. The author says that unfortunately, AI is now in that third phase. Which third phase? This phase. Confidence is high, but delivery is not very good. Layoffs and spending. So, over the past 12 months, large tech firms have been cutting jobs and putting all that money into AI. We saw that with Oracle, the absolutely brutal way in which they threw out tens of thousands of people, and even Amazon. And then in parallel claim that we are saving monies that we are going to pump into AI. We have seen that, right? So that will only rise. And that has strengthened the simple public story that machines will do more work, humans will do less, and hence the productivity will be more. Some people say this with a straight face, some people say this with optimism, and some people say this with trepidation. But almost everyone is ending up saying the same thing, is it not? Gains with friction. So, across workplaces, this is a very exciting article actually. Gives a lot of hope to many people who think that AI is ending up gobbling everything up. It's not like that. There's a lot of chance even now. Across workplaces, productivity is definitely rising, but it's not a clean replacement pattern. You know, the headlines in the newspapers are extremely misleading. So, 10 human beings removed and 10 human beings worth of work now created by AI. That is never the case, actually. That is never the case. So, engineers are coding faster, but they are reviewing even more. And designers and analysts are producing more material, but humans have to check it because that material inevitably has some hallucinations. That is the nature of LLMs. Supervise efficiency. So now we are in a strangeness. What is this new strangeness? There's a team of 20. They're all AI enabled. So they feel more powerful, they feel more productive, and they are more constrained because who is going to sign off the final output? Efficiency with supervision is the key because output rises even while oversight is stubbornly necessary. India follows trends. Now, what about Indian companies? The same thing will happen with us because they have often adopted global technology waves as a sign of modernization. So, every time there is a global wave of modernization, Indian companies leap and join the bandwagon. At times, that is essential as well because we want more productivity, more efficiency. We did that with cloud, digital transformation, analytics, and now we are doing it with AI. So, this is a very, very interesting history of the past 20 years. Cloud, digital transformation, analytics, and now we are talking about AI. So, if you really think about it, starting around 2000, cloud came up, then digital transformation came up, then there was a massive wave of analytics companies coming up, helping companies get more insights from their data, and now we have AI. So this started around year 2000. And that was the rise of AWS, and Indian companies realized the power of the cloud, and that story began. This started 2005 onwards broadly. This was again around 2008 or so. And finally, this around 2021. And then, of course, with ChatGPT. So, Indian companies have lived through these cycles. Our present cycle is this. And every time it was started by the West and then copied by Indian companies. And in many cases, Indian companies actually became very giant firms. They ended up doing serious work. IT companies became the back office of the world. So there's no denying their capability, entrepreneurial nature, their outreach to the world. But now with AI, things have changed. AI is replacing people, right? And appending entire business models. So there is kind of a stress there, nothing more. You get the idea? Scaling gets messy. So the operating reality in India is very hard. Because with every company, data is fragmented. Legacy systems of 20, 30, 40 years are in operation. Regulatory nuances differ from company to company. And definitely more than 2 or 3 languages every company handles. This is a nightmare for AI because AI needs clean data, stable context. So, what happens is there's a lot of fraud going on. What is that fraud? The AI vendors who come to sell their wares to a company, they create a very neat and clean sandboxed pilot. And the CXOs are very happy to see that. And the moment you go into deployment, ooh, layoff story needs a caution. I would advise you to go through this article very, very carefully twice. You will have a first hand feel of what's happening on the ground. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, learners and unlearners. At times, unlearning is more important than learning. Alvin Toffler. So, layoffs which are blamed on AI often overlap the overhiring nonsense after pandemic and some slower consumption demand. So we should not really conflate the two directly. Capacity versus capability. This term AI led efficiency, it has now become an excuse for restructuring. So earlier people used to say that we are restructuring our company. Now they say we have AI led efficiency. But these gains are expected gains. They are not realized gains. Realized gains are gains that have already accrued to you. Expected gains happen in the next 3, 6, 9 months or years. So if you're doing that, you may have ended up killing your own capability, not just the excess riffraff. You have killed capability. So your middle and higher management for tomorrow, you might have cannibalized the same. So in Indian IT services, where revenue scaling often meant manpower scaling, this is very important. Faster code generation, partial test automation, and instant documentation now make clients question, why do you need to put 1,000 engineers on my team, Mr. Narayana Murthy, making them work 70 hours per week, quote unquote? That was a joke. Why do you need 1,000 engineers for my project? AI does so much of it. So please cut it down to 200 and cut down my bill as well. Value and pricing shift. Now, the problem here is clients can definitely come back with this very sharp retort. But the truth isn't that. AI generated work needs validation, integration, contextual understanding, and very subtle errors can exist. So, for a client, it has become a good bargaining tool. But for the IT firm, it is a margin puzzle. And this thing will evolve over the next 2 years. Wait till 2028. Nothing is final before 2028. Is that clear? Global capability centers in India, several hundred are operating right now. They are all owned by the West. Indians work there, reasonably okay salaries, and whatever they create are the intellectual property of the West. Hardly anything is Indian there. So that is the GCCs. Their goal is immediate billing. Their goal is less on immediate billing because they are doing R&D, right? Long-term capability building. And these GCCs in India, as I just said, operating on Western models, they get good proprietary data from their American parents, tighter process links, and more room to experiment. So they may end up replacing a lot of traditional IT companies because each GCC is owned by one parent, a domain parent. So that changes things. IT companies are horizontal players, right? These are vertical players. So finally, the net summary here is that AI is powerful, but today it is experimental. Use cases are expanding faster, but stable long-term output, we still need to wait and watch. Management has to make it work because real world is not a clean, squeaky clean lab. I hope you enjoyed it. 7 words that came up and 5 technical concepts. AI productivity gains, pilot versus scaling, human in the loop, outcome-based pricing, capability versus capacity. So as I said, always bit by bit, piece by piece, we improve and augment our learning, and that is how we become good at fundamental concepts behind AI. So, if you are a general management professional, a general learner, an entrepreneur, or anyone who is building something, these understandings are very, very valuable. Take a moment, look at this carefully, and then we'll move on to the fifth one. Total 90-minute session. We do 10 articles, detailed analysis, exactly the same pattern every Saturday. So there's nothing holding you back from joining membership level number 2. Go ahead, do it. Fifth, manufacturing intelligence. Another very solid article on how AI can actually be used to convert some of the legacy Indian companies into globally competitive firms. India was late in turning its factories high tech, but AI tools can do that. Then several pros given here, as you can see clearly, and several cons. Got it? So we start with a quick summary. India is pushing factories beyond low value assembly by using AI for precision, quality, and smarter production. This shift on the face looks very promising that many of the top Indian companies can become globally competitive using AI. But the costs initially are very high. Integration problems exist, so CXO commitment is required and worker reskilling is needed. So, broader industrial adoption seems like a mirage because this kind of a commitment to put in more money initially, to get a lot of CXO attention, and to train the entire workforce, that is costly, right? So there's a policy shift that we perceive. India's AI push is now tied to its manufacturing policy with METI's the ministry, with METI's PLI scheme. This is called PLIS, Production Linked Incentive Scheme, pushing firms toward deeper domestic value addition. Because here you have to be in India, you have to put machines here, you get subsidy, but you produce here. The goal here is, can India move beyond assembly and into local production that is globally competitive? So that's a tall order. Slowly, India is moving towards that. But whether we make the full cut or not, only time will tell. So far, so good. Enjoying the session? Great. You'll keep enjoying. We'll keep bringing quality content on a regular basis. More local content. Now, when there is this change, it means you produce more modules, more PCB components, and other higher value electronic parts inside India. You don't import them. So, that electronic component indigenization is happening rather fast at the moment. Now, in this game, precision is the key. As Indian factories slowly move into the higher value layers, the quality control that they used to do earlier doesn't work. Ordinary assembly work can be general, but this is tighter quality control. This means you need precision engineering, stronger hardware ecosystems, and smarter production systems. Otherwise, things will not work. Electronics shows it because we know that very small defects can actually end up having very, very large impacts. Tiny defects in medical implants, wearables, or smartphones can actually destroy the final product completely. These are very deeply precision products. Computer vision can detect microscopic flaws. So this is CVAI, Computer Vision AI system. It can find out microscopic flaws. Remember, our topic is manufacturing using AI. An AI system can even spot early signs of fires or gas leaks before people do. So that is the emergence of physical AI. So today we have had 2 on physical AI. So that's a sign of times. This factory shift is actually physical AI, machines using AI. Waymo is an early example, Google's taxi service. Autonomous driving showed machines handling messy and unpredictable physical environments. Cheap labor will fade. So India had an edge earlier, low cost, abundant labor. But that changes. And how does it change? If I build modern factories around completely new dynamics, data, sensors, precision, then my low cost abundant labor becomes secondary to that game. Manufacturing is shifting from that labor heavy thing to ML, machine intelligence and machine learning. So there are connected factories. Next step, connected factory where Internet of Things and Internet link robots, they get linked with AI models. So equipment failures can be predicted, downtime gets reduced drastically, maintenance timing improves, and operations remain more responsive through constant learning. Constant learning here is machine learning, ML. More is the data that enters those machines, better and still better are their predictions for the future. That is ML and that is AI. Full automation stays limited. Some highly automated plants are already running with very few human beings. In Japan, the Netherlands, and China, we see these. But actually, these are very capex heavy. So, initial investment needed are very high. And India's labor cost advantage means full automation may actually not be a very sensible choice. Robots are entering shop floors now. Gray, orange, and perceptine robotics are building systems for automotive and electronics work. So the idea is physical intelligence, machines perceive, decide, and act instead of just. So that is something we saw in the first analysis also. And then there are hybrids, not fully robotic, but a mix. Some robot led units make sense today, and most production is mixed. So that is hybrid. So we will see every kind. There will be a small minority of pure robotics, majority would be hybrids, and again a small minority of pure labor arbitrage thing. Miniaturization is a major hurdle because capacitors, sensors, and microchips demand near zero defects at extremely small sizes. And AI advanced automation can actually help there. So the closing message is that AI can improve quality control, maintenance, supply chain, flexibility, safety, but because it is very costly, things are taking time. In addition, how do you integrate it with the legacy software, the cybersecurity problems, and workforce reskilling needs? Everything is coming in the way of immediate adoption. So factory work will not simply disappear because at least theoretically we can say that human beings will be needed to supervise all this which is happening. For how long will this logic hold? We'll wait and watch. Supervise, interpret, and guide machines. So this absolutely is a transformational time. By 2030, as I always say, we may be in a completely new world. And for you to be relevant in that world, there is only one way: embrace AI, learn more and more of it, and contribute to that world as much as you can. Computer vision, physical AI, IoT in manufacturing, predictive maintenance, edge AI. 5 important technical concepts. Got it? Great. We move on to our 6th analysis now. We'll go up to 10. Cyber security for India. So, alarm bells are ringing. And Anthropic's new Claude Mythos is actually giving day zero vulnerability predictions for existing software as well. And that has set alarm bells ringing everywhere. I have made other videos on this topic on the channel. Please do watch. Cyber war is already here and AI is making disruptive attacks faster, cheaper, harder to detect. Cyber thieves and cyber attackers and hackers, till just about a few months ago, did not have access to very powerful AI systems. Now they have, and that is changing the contours of cyber wars. And this cyber war could be one nation state versus another, making it even more deep. India remains dangerously exposed because India's critical system, security culture, and hardware choices are just not up to the mark. Imagine we have a national electricity grid. Ultimately, it's all run by a software in the control center in Delhi. Just imagine. This is what the author is trying to say. This is exactly what the author is trying to communicate to us. The threat has shifted. In cybersecurity, a very foundational change has happened. India is blissfully ignorant of that emerging cybersecurity threat. We are just not prepared for what's coming next. There are public services completely dependent on large government created and government owned software systems. And those software systems are open to attack from malicious actors, which could be state or non state actors. This is what, between the lines, the author is trying to communicate. So we have Anthropic, a frontier lab. It said that Claude Mythos, the latest model, can autonomously find, chain, and weaponize software vulnerabilities. What are software vulnerabilities? Whatever big software a company gets made for itself, it may carry millions of lines of code. Some human team has built it. They may have missed out some key parts here or there, which any hacker can leverage, exploit tomorrow to gain entry into your system. That's a day zero vulnerability. Now, what happens is many such large software, they are running for 5, 10, 15, 25 years. And nothing has gone wrong because those vulnerabilities were never exploited by anyone. And the software was doing its main job, running the business. Now, AI systems can actually identify those very fast. And that opens up a Pandora's box of woes. So, this is what Anthropic says, that we are also surprised to see how good Claude Mythos is. And hence, Claude Mythos is not being issued to the world, released to the world. Anthropic claimed that we found thousands of very severe zero-day vulnerabilities across operating systems, browsers, and even OpenBSD's TCP stack. This is all the foundation of internet today. And they were day zero vulnerabilities. So large chunks of internet can be taken down by hackers and then can be blackmailed. A very striking point is some of those flaws survived 27 years of audit and stress testing. This means deep hidden weaknesses are sitting quietly inside trusted digital systems, just waiting for the right moment to erupt and take everything down. Machines attacking. Cyber conflict is no longer about fooling humans into clicking malicious links and attachments. That is very, very old world now. Reconnaissance, exploitation, and persistence can now run as an automated cycle. So you can do recce, exploit, and persist till you actually gain entry. And human defenders cannot respond to it with that persistence. Access stayed restricted. So Anthropic, the moment the model was created in the lab, immediately realized that this was a very dangerous model. It did not release it to the public. Instead, it created a team of 40 companies called Project Glasswing. So, what did Project Glasswing do? Only 40 top major US companies were invited. Not a single Indian company is part of Project Glasswing. Now, when someone says that AI is becoming strategic and is a geopolitical tool, this is exactly what they mean. It's dangerous for Indian IT firms. They don't have access to a tool which can find day zero vulnerability or 0 days. Imagine what America is thinking. So the US says this is a national urgency because offensive cyber operations are becoming more and more possible with such tools. Specialized teams used to do this earlier. Now only machines can very easily do this. So for India, the stakes couldn't be any higher. In this, Vivek Vadhva talks about a certain incident in January 2026 when the US used AI augmented cyber operations in Venezuela, and while they were planning on kidnapping the president Maduro and his wife, this was the preparation being done. And exactly the same thing was done to support joint US Israeli strikes on Iran's communication sensors and command networks. Now, it is an altogether different matter that Iran was ready for it, and it has responded with a ferocity of asymmetric warfare that put paid to all American and Israeli plans. But Venezuela just wasn't ready. Critical infrastructure can similarly be hit in India remotely and with limited attribution, the most dangerous thing. As in, who carried it out, who done it basically, would not even be known. Do you realize what that means? The entire electricity grid could be out. Railways could be halted. Financial markets, water supplies, everything, and the defense installations can be blinded. We are at the cusp of that crisis right now. And unless steps are taken to counter this, it's going to be very, very difficult. You see that? तो ये भारतीयों के लिए अब इट्स अ हियर एंड नाउ वाली सिचुएशन. I hope you understand the urgency in my voice. This is a clear and present danger for India and Indians, and somehow the system completely seems to be taking it for granted that fine, we'll see, things will happen, and so on and so forth. Is that clear? India's self image lags. Others are moving very fast, and India is somehow caught up into this I am the world's IT superpower image. But this is an AI first world, and maybe this image will take a few very hard knocks for the mindset to change. Because our companies have been securing global banks, cloud platforms, and Fortune 500 systems well, we think that we will protect India's infrastructure also with the same rigor. But that is not the case in reality. The exposure is already visible. Outdated systems, uneven patching, compliance first culture, they have already left India exposed. 60% of advanced threats are said to come from China Pakistan axis, with 265 million attacks recorded in 2025. So, India needs to gear up and gear up really fast. The hardware risks are even deeper. Software is one part. As we become more and more hardware dependent on others, we become dangerously exposed. We do not have a full national audit. AI driven red teaming is absent. And we are relying on Chinese routers, cameras, switches, and industrial control systems because they are cheaper. It is only now that the CCTV systems from China have been banned, but it's too late, too little. So, the final long story short TLDR, India is being pushed to treat cyber risk as a national security emergency because otherwise we may end up paying a very big price. So, what the author is saying, Atmanirbhar Bharat Cyber Suraksha Mission. What a long name, big name. So, unless and until we do this, it will be very difficult. We need safer hardware, AI based defense testing, system isolation, coordination, political will. 5 elements. What a wonderful analysis this was. 7 names that came up: zero-day vulnerabilities, autonomous vulnerability discovery, AI-driven cyber ops, industrial control systems, exploit chaining. One really hopes that the Indian policymakers are listening, and not just listening, planning on doing something really fast before a malicious actor with very little attribution ends up creating serious troubles for us. We come to the 7th one. Inside the world of shadow libraries, digital piracy, AI, and the fight for access. So, this is an adjacent topic, but we thought It would be good for you, so we brought it. Excited? Shall we begin? Here goes. Shadow libraries began as access tools for readers shut out by very high prices of books and paywalls. Now, shadow libraries are right inside the very wide battle over piracy, open access, AI training data, and publishing power worldwide today as well. And what does that mean? Let's find out. In 2026, there's a website called Anna's Archive. Millions use it regularly to download PDFs of publications. And practically every publication's PDF can be downloaded from Anna's Archive. Suddenly, the domain vanished. And for the regular readers, it was quite a shocker. It took a few days, few weeks, and alternate addresses came up. But it was proven that these knowledge routes where pirated materials are available can be very unstable, very risky. Early roles. These shadow libraries, they actually became very vast anonymous databases that gave free access to books and papers in a legal gray zone. Because the books were very expensive, so societies and governments usually realized to some extent, with some sympathy and empathy towards the readers who could not have afforded those books, that because of high prices, paywalls, and very closed education systems where the poor could not afford, fine, these were an alternative system of education, and so they continued for many, many years. Then by 2026, this older access movement, it became tangled with publishers, governments, and increasingly with AI companies. So there are many platforms like LibGen, ZLibrary, Sci-Hub, and Anna Archive. They are so big that no one can dismiss them out of hand, that they do not have an effect. And they are just for the poor. So that logic did not work anymore. So most of them are actually searchable indexes. Files are stored elsewhere. You can search using these front ends and the files can be downloaded. And some actually hold the entire file set themselves. That difference does not matter much, but for users, the practical result is access that formal systems often fail to provide. And so users are happy that their education can continue, their reading experience can continue. So why users turn? This article then talks about lived need, not abstract ideology. So, some homemaker in Kenya, a reader in Lebanon, and a student in India, if they were interviewed, they would have said, or they actually said, that these platforms are being used by me because I just cannot buy this book. It's just not in my budget, and I need these books. So these takedowns don't help. Publishers and authorities, government authorities, they always want to shut down these sites. But the online system actually is not a physical black market. If sites go offline, the mirrors appear very fast. Communities shift to new addresses, and takedowns disrupt usage, but the ecosystem can never be killed. So by December 2025, Anna's Archive had drawn global attention because it was said that it had even scraped Spotify and music metadata had been taken. So the legal response came quickly, and a US court ordered and blocked Anna's Archive. So it was Spotify behind Anna's Archive's takedown. So a parallel publisher lawsuit was commercial scale piracy happening. AI changes this debate. So a new dimension comes into this entire story. So far the story is pretty normal, but now there's a new dimension. Many authors started blaming these shadow libraries that NVIDIA-like companies are using this. And they are using it to train their models. And if they are using it to train their models, then where are the royalties? Because these companies are worth trillions. I hope that's very clear. So these shadow libraries are the data pipelines for the giant AI firms, themselves valued at hundreds of billions and paying not a penny. Now the matter becomes extremely serious. So there's an ethical split. Even now, many will say that piracy is perfectly justified because books are too costly. And where will the poor go? And institutions are weak and underfunded. They cannot give scholarships. So what will people do? But NVIDIA and OpenAI benefiting from shadow libraries is absolutely unjustifiable. No one can justify that. So now, can there be some legal alternatives without violating copyright laws? So there is a public sector diamond open access, preprint repositories, and community journals. They are some possible alternatives. However, in low and middle income countries and societies, shadow libraries are just a symptom of a disease. They are not the disease themselves. So, what begins as a struggle over reading quickly becomes a broader fight over who gets the knowledge, who controls the distribution, and who profits from scarcity. But the whole thing has become extremely complicated because now publishing, law, technology, and public access, everything is entangled. And the giant AI companies are using these to train their models and then mint billions. AI copyright debate will sooner or later be settled by some court and something dramatic will happen. AI training data, data scraping, large data sets, copyrights in AI, model pre-training. So there are experts dealing with copyrights in AI and AI governance, and they are actually full-time dedicated only and only to handling these issues structurally. Amazing field, amazing things happening, absolutely amazing. Take a look at this. So which are the specific libraries you have ever used? Please do share in the comments. And do you justify these libraries holding PDFs of these books for general public access? If you do, please let us know. I hope you're enjoying. We are moving to the last 15 minutes. New brain-inspired Memristors. AI energy is a very serious problem. Data centers are being criticized because they are sucking the planet's energy. So can we have some hardware innovation to minimize this? That is precisely what Memristors are. So without going into the very deep technology side of it, we will talk about the broad concepts here because we don't want to make this a technology class as such. Okay, so don't worry. Be with me. Do not be scared with these terms. So researchers at Cambridge, they have created a hafnium-based memristor. All our human neurons, they have synapses. That is how our neurons talk to each other. So these researchers have created a memristor which reduces data movement. AI energy use can be drastically reduced because of that. Because memory and computation can happen within the same physical device, unlike calling data every time to perform computation that ends up creating massive energy loads. So Cambridge Research, they have reported that we have successfully tried a hafnium oxide memristor, and it tries to mimic a biological synapse. This is how our neurons actually transmit information. The human brain takes a different approach to traditional computers. Every synapse, the junctions where neurons communicate, we have 86 billion neurons in an adult brain with 100 trillion synaptic connections. Every synapse will store and process information locally. It need not call the data. So memory and processing are fused together. In electronics, we never had this. Memristor is trying to do this. Just remember this. Got it? So my dear friends, low energy is the key. So we are possibly over the next 5 years moving towards this. Nothing happens overnight. Remember, this is a very complicated technology. It takes time. In current computers, we are following the von Neumann design. What is the von Neumann design? Memory is separate. processors are separate. Physically, these two are separate. The problem is with regular digital computer use, it was all fine. But with AI models, intelligence being created at every second, data has to move constantly between DRAM and GPUs. So that is energy inefficient. In large AI system, the sheer cost of the energy to move data is often far more than the cost of doing the calculations. Even loading a single byte from off-chip memory can consume more energy than executing arithmetic operations. So very clearly, the von Neumann design has had its time. For regular digital computers and ERPs, it is perfect. But for AI inferencing, bad idea. So we go back to Mother Nature. We try to learn from what nature did over the past millions of years to resolve this problem. Human brain has neurons which store and process information in the same physical structure. This allows the brain to perform roughly 10 to the power 15 operations per second using just 20 watts of power. Mother Nature is absolutely awesome. So your brain has 86 billion neurons, 100 trillion synaptic connections. They can be activated simultaneously to create a proper 3D vision of the world, which we take for granted now because that's how we have evolved. And the power requirement is 20 watts. AI can be put to utter shame by this humble machine here. Got it? And by the way, human brain, whatever energy it consumes, 20% of the body's energy goes to the brain and 40% of the brain's energy goes into the visual cortex. Just remember those numbers, might give you a good picture someday. Neuromorphic direction. So this is neuromorphic computing. We want to mimic this efficiency. Our electronic devices, we want to make them behave like neurons. And to make them behave like neurons and synapses, traditional transistors and RAM need to be merged. We have to go beyond them, right? So computation and memory has to be merged. Just remember that, which is separate today, von Neumann design. That's it. So Memristor will combine memory and resistance. Memory, resistance. Memristor. Earlier memristors had certain limits. Now this is very technical. You can skip it. And now we have a new Cambridge design. So dear friends, this Cambridge work shows how reducing data movement and merging memory with computer can reduce energy requirement at a hardware level. Of course, commercial fabrication will still happen. But the point here is AI is aware of the fact that the present data center model is not sustainable. And neuromorphic computing is the way forward. I hope this is clear. Memristor, a device that can store data and process it at the same time. Von Neumann architecture, traditional computer design, memory and processing totally separate. Neuromorphic computing, computers that try to mimic how the human brain works, although it will take decades before we reach anywhere close to this powerful machine called human brain. Data movement cost, spike timing plasticity. I hope you were not too intimidated by this and you're excited by new developments happening and the potential future where this energy dilemma is resolved so people can have access to unlimited intelligence without harming the planet. Beautiful infographic, truly beautiful. Into the world of data centers. So my dear friends, all our lives are revolving around data centers. Everything we are doing today is revolving and is coming out of some data center. So what is this entire industry called data center all about? Our digital lives are now powered by data centers that we never see. Payment, streaming, cloud, AI, everything is coming out of data centers. The future, power, cooling, land, financing, regulation, utilization. Any one link in this chain breaks and everything breaks. So let's learn. Everyday digital trail. You and me are living digital lives, and what we do in the digital world leaves a physical trail somewhere in a server sitting in a remote data center that you and me are never going to visit. You do a UPI payment, you stream Netflix, you do a backup on WhatsApp, stock trade, or an AI prompt. So this data center holds it with itself for many, many months. Data center operators no longer really sell floor space. Capacities are now megawatts or gigawatts of IT load. So global live IT capacity already is at a huge number and rising. And India is also a part of that game now with many government initiatives and an incentive for companies, tax ops and all. India may currently be generating a very large share of the world's digital data, but the installed center capacity is very, very low. US and China are far ahead, but India wants to catch up. Mumbai and Chennai are leading because of the submarine cables landing right there. So they are very natural locations for co-location clusters. Remote hinterland centers, then you need extra cables and all that. So the cost grows. What happens inside a data center? A modern data center is not just servers, a very secure building, its own private powered system, full cooling architecture, network hub, and dense computing hardware working together. So it's almost a miracle that they have put up hundreds of such centers over the past 10 years. And they're all working and dishing out intelligence now for AI. So the largest cost is in IT equipment, second largest engineering, electrical systems, cooling, and backup generation. No doubt in the West there is a growing resentment against data centers. They hurt the ecosystem they are sitting in. Traditional facilities are built on site and slowly expanded. So they can be slow to deploy initially, but they are easy to customize later. Modular facilities, just like any modular home, everything is prefabricated. Just bring together, add, and you're good to go. So there are four model choices in data centers: captive, co-location, hyperscale, edge. This is something you might want to just remember. Captive, co-location, hyperscale, and edge. Depending on what kind of customers you have. Captive, you get control. Co-location, upfront burden is very low. Hyperscale, massive scalers like Google coming up in Vizag in India. And edge is very close to the users for lower latency. Revenue comes through racks, cabinets, cages, related formats, and pricing is increasingly linked to allocated power rather than mere physical footprint. Lease models dominate, and managed services add usage-based charges, and contract duration varies sharply between retail customers and hyperscalers. Then a lot of financial details are given. Power drives the economics. So power is the most vital operating input. Unfortunately, AI is a power guzzling endeavor, and that has created a lot of trouble. Capital is flooding in, tens of billions of dollars coming in, which doesn't have any immediate payback. And so, profitability usually in the initial year is very low. Institutional money is still pouring in because companies and governments clearly see that this is an AI first stage, and so data centers are going nowhere. So India is attracting large commitments from big groups, conglomerates, and global investors. However, this is a whole ecosystem in itself, and policy support is critical, although execution related problems will constantly keep arising, especially in a developing nation like India. So the summary is data centers are a full infrastructure system and ecosystem within themselves unto themselves. However, even if they grow, good returns are not guaranteed for every part in that chain. The real test is who secures power, builds on time, fills capacity steadily, protects the margin, and converts industry excitement into durable financial results. Wow, that was a mouthful. Secures power, builds on time, fills capacity steadily, protects margin, converts industry excitement. Whew, how can one even say such a thing? I hope you enjoyed this. Cloud computing, hyperscale data centers, co-location. Businesses rent space and power in third-party data center instead of building everything. Edge computing and rack density. we come to the conclusion now. West Asia war could reshape the AI race. I have made a dedicated video on this separately. People are underestimating how the Iran war is actually changing the dynamics of AI. It's very fundamentally reshaping it. Let's very quickly go through this. I hope you have enjoyed the full session, and I hope you're going to join us in the membership tier number 2 and 3. Looking forward to having you as a member on this channel. Thank you so much for being a patient listener throughout. War in West Asia is colliding with AI's heavy energy needs, and suddenly everyone realizes that no matter how virtual and digital AI is, essentially it is a physical pursuit. This means that in the coming days and weeks and years, the developing versus developed world dichotomy will grow more and more and more, and AI will become maybe a rich club's exclusive pursuit. So that's a very dangerous thing to say, actually. Iran-Israel-US war is unfolding just as AI is emerging as a major global energy consumer, and all these AI companies have been putting up data centers right where you have a major war now. So there is no stability in Middle East at all. AI expansion means more and more electricity. And that when the global energy markets are extremely volatile. So this tech ambition is running into power supply, infrastructure, readiness, and resource availability. Frankly speaking, this Iran war was entirely avoidable. America and Israel should not have launched it. The repercussions are going to be felt by everyone. Data center demand. Now, we just talked about data centers at length here. We saw many new things that otherwise we weren't exposed to, and you can always come back to this. The link to download is there. I have shared this video with the broader public as such. We rarely do that with our AI Power of 10. Hundreds of students are studying with us on the channel. So, suddenly we find that energy access is a core strategic advantage. It is not just about, oh, I'll need energy. It's a background factor. No. It's a core strategic advantage because you may be deprived of it now. So, in US, gas-fired power stations give the maximum electricity based on IEA. But if energy markets tighten, then suddenly either you won't have electricity to power those data centers, or the cost will double and triple. So the final cost of AI inferencing will need to go up, or the companies will go unprofitable. Wealthy nations and large technology firms can easily sign long-term energy contracts, renewables. Developing countries may find it challenging. And so, slowly the gap in AI will become more pronounced. So this is inequality deepening. And AI development will mean more inequality between countries with very stable energy access and those not with stable energy access. So, long story short, it's all about energy, baby. AI is very material. Electricity, infrastructure, rare minerals, and now helium also, because without helium, you cannot fabricate the cutting-edge chips. So, value chains are shifting. Control over AI is moving beyond software capabilities to a broader economic strength. Funding pressures are rising. Strait of Hormuz, this conflict is creating second and third order effects across the world, and developing countries may suddenly find that all other conclusions and calculations have gone awry. Capital shifts are safer, ecosystems are under stress, and the final summary is AI story is not about models anymore, but energy access, capital flows, and geopolitical stability. Of course, algorithms matter, but if you don't have energy, what will you do with those algos? Dear friend, this is how the story is, and this is where we stand today. So here are 5 important AI technical concepts. Data centers, AI infra, compute parts, semiconductors, model scaling, good learning, enjoyment, and overall understanding of how this amazing AI world is moving. I hope you have enjoyed AI Power of 10. I hope you will be with us for a long, long time. Enjoy the whole Billion Hopes ecosystem to the fullest possible. With that, we conclude our session number 17. What an amazing journey it has been. 1 per week, 17 weeks already gone by. This series will continue for a long, long time. This amazing knowledge adventure will continue for a long, long time. Be with us. That would be our pleasure to have you. And we are releasing this for free. Enjoy it. Download the material. Check out the quiz also. I've shared the password also with you right at the beginning. So, with that, please give me permission. Let me end and conclude the session successfully right here. See you soon. This is your mentor, Sandy, bringing you AI for real impact.